The police say somebody crashed into the Lululemon store downtown. They stole stuff from inside the store after the crash.
Police are calling a burglary involving two suspects. Onlookers and passersby were left surprised by what they saw in one of downtown Greenville's busiest corners. Even shoppers from out of town were caught off guard, including this group of Clemson students who came specifically to shop at Lululemon.
It took like 15 minutes to try to find somewhere to park, and then all of a sudden, like, we walk here and it's like, what's going on? We see these people working on it, and it's closed.
While these two visitors didn't come all the way from London just to shop at Lululemon, they were stunned by the scene.
It's a bit crazy. I mean, out of all the shops you could pick, Lululemon seems a bit strange as a choice, but they are a bit more expensive, so I could maybe understand it. Did they succeed?
Police say the suspects got away with nearly $5,000 worth of merchandise.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Audacious Money Witch channel, where we talk about the magic behind the stock market. Hey, it's Audacious Witch here. How are you guys holding up? Today we're talking about a brand we all know and like maybe even have in our closets, Lululemon. Bless its heart. For years, this company felt invincible, but the stock? Honey, it's been on a roller coaster ride, and right now, it feels like we're heading for the steepest drop. I'm going to be super honest with you and maybe even a little vulnerable. Last earnings, I made a mistake as a trader trying to predict a bounce around $190 a share. I thought it would do what it did last year, but that was just delulu. Because as a trader, we need to be patient, react, and don't predict. Lulu stock has completely changed its technical landscape. We've seen a massive 20% crash recently, and that's just scratching the surface. There are no clear signs of bottoming out, and if we look at other big tech crashes like Meta in 2022, this could get much, much worse. So today, we're diving deep into Lululemon. We'll talk about what's gone wrong, what the management isn't doing, and why I'm holding off on buying more shares right now. Even though I love this company, this isn't just about Lululemon. This is about being a smart, patient investor. Let's spill the tea. The harsh reality of the Lululemon chart. All right, let's just get straight to it. If you've been watching Lululemon stock, you know it's been a bit of a heartbreaker. We've dropped about 67% from its peak, and for some folks, that might sound like a massive discount, but if history has taught us anything in the stock market, that might not be enough. Remember Meta back in 2022? That stock was flying high at $380 a share, and then boom, they had a 3 quarters of negative revenue growth, and their stock plummeted 75% all the way down to $88. That was a serious beatdown. Now here we are with Lululemon, and their U.S. business comparable sales growth is actually in the negative 4%. Y'all, that's a red flag waving bigger than a lighthouse beam in a hurricane. It's easy to see Lululemon stock to fall all the way down to 130, which will be a 74% drop from the all-time high. The chart itself is telling us a story of lower highs and lower lows. Kiss of death on the monthly has triggered, and it's currently in progress. There's no clear double bottom or head and shoulders bottom pattern forming. So honestly, we have no idea when this stock is going to truly bottom out. And as an investor, I'm trying to keep my cost basis low. Why would I buy more shares now if I can get them for much, much cheaper price when the stock shows a clear sign of recovery? I already have 200 shares and I want to own 500 shares, so I'm waiting for that sweet, sweet discount. If I love it at $190, I'll absolutely adore it at $130. Management's missteps lost at sea. Now this is where it gets a little personal. When a company hits this mature business phase, like Lululemon is now, it's all about defending your main turf, your core business. But honestly, I don't think the CEO has done a good job. In the US, the competition is fierce. We might not see it as much up here in Canada. But down there, brands like Alo Yoga and Viore are literally setting up shop across the street or right next door to Lululemon stores. Back 5 years ago, when Lululemon was in its growth phase, they were like Tesla, first one in the game, no real competition, but now their core customers have choices. And what did the CEO admit? That Lululemon is too predictable. Y'all, isn't it his job to protect Lululemon's moat, its unique appeal? Instead, they're trying to get into golf, tennis lounge, and even bags. And don't even get me started on the flip-flops. I mean, why is that on the front page of their website? It feels so random, so overstretched, so lost. Consumers are confused. What even is Lululemon right now? They're selling random accessories for short-term revenue instead of innovating in their core. Plus, they've wasted a lot of cash buying back shares at much higher prices than today. That money could have been invested in the future, in innovation. They hired Ranju Das, CTO from Amazon AI, but where's the cutting edge tech in our yoga pants? We need new fabrics, new technology to keep us coming back.
Lululemon hits back at the founders' anti-DEI comments. They do not reflect our company's views. Look at this company. They do not reflect our company's views. You are your founder's company. What do you mean they do not reflect our company's views? Your founders started your company. Can you imagine how dumb it is for you to say what you just... Do you understand what they're saying?
Of course.
Lululemon hits back at the founder. If it wasn't for the founder, there is no Lululemon. You know...
Yeah, it's basically what's happening in America today. We don't endorse what our founding fathers of America basically tried to make here in America.
They were here way before you and I were here.
Exactly.
America matters way more than you and I do. They start this great country. Lululemon distanced itself from its founder, Chip Wilson's recent criticism of the company's diversity and inclusion efforts.
What do you think are Lululemon's biggest opportunities and challenges in the current day?
Well, you can tell by the way it bought Mir for like 500 million, and then probably by the time they got out of it, it probably cost them 800 million. And so it tells me that they don't really understand the business. I have stayed away from technical. You can see it's really failed for Nike and Under Armour for sure. I mean, it runs counter to the core way that the business is set up to sell in the store and sell online. So now they're $800 million down. So that's the kind of thinking that I think you've got probably a board now that's old, doesn't really understand it. When they bought Mir, it took them about a year to fire the founder of that, who's kind of coming in. So it tells me that the board, the biggest risk is the board doesn't have the ability to work with people that probably are thinking 5 to 10 years out in the future. So that's one thing. The second thing is that do they really understand the product? They have a couple of people there. I mean, I'd call Glenn Murphy probably, who was the CEO of The Gap, who's brought every bad thought about how The Gap runs to Lululemon. So and then you have people from Shoppers in Canada, which is a kind of a CVS drugstore type of thing. And you're kind of bringing that mentality to something where Lululemon was built up to be an anti-Gap type of thing. So it was technical, and it was changing its styling every year, moving forward and thinking about functional fabrics and how that enhances the people's lives, not from a let's do an advertising campaign and make people think they're happy, but let's actually make a product that makes people like phenomenal in every part of their life. And so I think that that's the biggest risk that Lululemon has. They don't know how to work with futurists. For Lululemon to have a big opportunity, they would have to risk. And I think that they would have to become a brand to people that people want. I think through this whole diversity and inclusion thing that they've trying to become like The Gap, everything to everybody. And I think just the definition of a brand is that you're not everything to everybody. Lululemon has the opportunity to become a brand, But in order to become a brand, you've got to be clear that you don't want certain customers coming in. And right now, I think through they're fearful. They run out, instead of they living out of possibility, they live out of the fear of media backlash, of not including everybody. And it's just something I don't agree with.
And so what do you think would be the consequence of that?
Well, of that, I think that they would become a brand that nobody else could compete against. Because I think there's so many, I see brands coming out to compete against Lululemon that have healthy people in their ads. They don't, I mean, so as opposed to having people that look very unhealthy to me on e-commerce, like the men look sickly, the women are looking like, I don't know what they're not inspirational in any kind of case like that. So I think that they have the opportunity to like move into the health, fitness, longevity, fun space where Lululemon was meant to be.
The financial storm clouds. Now let's talk about numbers, honey. Well, the financials still look okay on paper. The storm clouds are gathering. Margins haven't decreased drastically yet, but earnings per share have started to decline. The big one, U.S. comparable sales growth, is surely declining. That means fewer people are spending less in their stores compared to the same time last year. That's a huge red flag.
The first theft happened about 5 p.m. 2 women walked out with armfuls of clothing. Alerted by the social media account DMV News Live, we were here looking into the earlier crime when this happened. The video shows 3 women, 2 were wearing surgical masks, grabbing big armfuls of clothing from the Lululemon store on Clarendon Boulevard in Arlington. They appeared to be in no hurry. One woman stopped to pick up items falling out of her overloaded arms. The video was taken at 7:11 p.m. That is only 2 hours after the store had been targeted for an earlier organized theft crime.
As we're pulling up, I'm working on my script to go live on TV shortly, and I hear commotion, I hear some giggles. I turn to the left and I see 2 girls running down. I take it back. They were skipping down the street with an armful of merchandise, very casually, and just laughing it off. Just something that employees say happens not only once, but sometimes twice a day. And I can tell you, I believe it.
2 people have been arrested accused of stealing thousands of dollars worth of Lululemon merchandise.
A brazen robbery at a Lululemon store is caught on camera. Watch here as the suspects stroll out of the store right past a security guard with sacks full of merchandise.
They would literally strip the shelves of everything within a matter of seconds.
A major organized retail theft crew busted by Bellevue police, accused of stealing more than $500,000 worth of luxury apparel and activewear from Lululemon.
Jefferies analyst Randall Connick, who's actually shorting the stock, says it's going to get much worse. Much, much worse. Now you can't trust everything a short seller says. They might tell you the earth is flat, but his points about rising competition, lower growth, and fading brand strength are hard to ignore. Lululemon is performing worse than the broader athleisure market, which is actually up 3.4%. That suggests they're losing market share. Global Data's research even says loyal Lululemon shoppers are broadening their repertoire, trying alternative brands. The blunt truth, as they say, is that Lululemon is no longer the challenger. It's the one being hunted.
Shoppers not surprised at retail theft happening at popular stores like Lululemon, but many were surprised at how often it's been happening.
Is it that often?
Yeah.
Wow.
In the span of a week, Philadelphia police confirmed 2 reported incidents at the Rittenhouse location. One was last Thursday. Philadelphia police say 2 people involved were arrested and now face retail theft charges. One was also reported just this afternoon. Many people inside or nearby didn't even realize.
And they're just walking out of the store?
That would appear to be the case if you look at this surveillance video from 2 days ago. Cameras at the Lululemon location in Suburban Square, Ardmore, capturing 4 women walking into the store at around 11:19 Tuesday morning. You see them nonchalantly grabbing clothes off the shelves, and barely a minute later, they were out. Hands so full of stolen goods, one of them drops a pair of leggings while running out. Two people who appear to be employees watching it all unfold.
Discounting and the de minimis disaster. Y'all, this one really got me. Lululemon, the retailer known for its full-price merchandise, is discounting at alarming rates. Historically, 95% of their stuff sold at full price. Now, they're lucky to get 75%. Jeffries reports seeing slim fit skirts marked down from $78 to $49, golf vests from $128 to $79. And remember those loud colors, bright red, yellow, blue, green. Connick says it looks like Sesame Street, and it's overwhelming. The subtle pastels we know and love, they're trying to appeal to non-athletic people. But those non-core products are ending up on the sales racks. I've seen it myself, 4 markdown racks filled with neon. And then there's the de minimis tariff exception being scrapped. This is far bigger issue than anticipated. Lululemon used this exemption to send packages from Canadian distribution centers to U.S. customers. Now tariffs and these changes will cause gross margins to decline about 2.2 percentage points this year. That's a huge hit to their profitability, folks. The U.S. recession and the wait for the bottom. The truth is, Lululemon is facing lower store traffic in the Americas and direct reflection of economic uncertainty, inflation, and lower consumer confidence. And here in Canada, we're already in a recession, which means people are tightening their belts. The U.S. economy is projected to face a recession next year, which is why the Fed is expected to cut interest rates twice more this year. This economic pressure combined with Lululemon's struggles means we could see revenue growth go negative. And analysts, they've all started to change their minds. For the first time since 2011, Lululemon's average rating from analysts is a hold, not an overweight. Their mean target price has plummeted. Lululemon is trying to introduce new styles, but those efforts won't really pay off until next spring. So we're looking at potentially a whole year of lost earnings growth. Ultimately, this is now a 2026 show me story. One analyst said, but guess what? In 2026, the U.S. could be in a deep recession. While international sales are saving the show, especially in China, the core U.S. business has lost its rhythm. So as an investor, why would I buy now if I can get at a much cheaper price when the stock shows a clear bottoming pattern? I'm waiting for that double bottom or head and shoulders bottom. I want to keep my cost basis low and have a high margin of safety. Because I see the risks with this management, their failure to face competition head on, and their overstretch strategy. For both Alo Yoga and Viore combined, they have around 200 stores in the US. Now Lulu only has 376 stores in the US. Now do you feel the competition threat? Final thoughts. Patience is our superpower. So while Lululemon is a brand many of us adore, the investment picture is looking pretty rough right now. The stock is down, the growth is slowing. Competition is fierce, and management seems a bit lost at sea. This is a time for patience. As investors, we wait for clarity, for a sign that the ship is turning around. I love Lululemon at $190, but I will absolutely love it at $130. I'll be watching for those technical patterns, for management to get their act together, and for the economic tides to turn. 2027, they are going into India, so more exciting international growth in the future. What do you think, eh? Are you buying the dip or are you waiting with me? Let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more real talk from your audacious witch. Cheers, much love.